Welcome to the Backstage with Kennedy podcast. My name's Kennedy. I'm here with Noah Anderson from a baseball academy out in Newfoundland called Premier Sports Academy. Noah's a great dude. I actually had the pleasure of working for and with Noah in the past. We worked for the Canadian Lacrosse League together, as well as we got to work a brief little stint where I helped out with an inter-county baseball team called the Niagara Metros, where I was actually wearing their polo earlier today. So still repping the Metros. But yeah, how you doing today, Noah? What's up, bud?
Hey, man. First of all, I appreciate you having me on. It feels like this is the way we stay connected now. And when you reached out, there was no way I was going to say no anyway, but glad you reached out. I'm doing well today, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing not too bad. Just been working. I mean, I'm working at Foot Locker these days, so it's doing a lot of online orders and stuff. So it's an adjustment, but we're getting through it. So Noah, tell me a little bit about how you got into baseball, because I know that you were a hockey guy when you were really young. You were, I mean, not a great hockey player, but you definitely like to throw some fists. But yeah, so tell me how you got into baseball.
It's funny you say that. Yeah, like growing up, it was always hockey for me. Like Kennedy said, not that great. Wanted to be on skates. The other big hurdle too, I mean, it's with a lot of families in Canada. It's just the price and the cost at the time. But you know what? I played baseball. It was a summer activity that I played. So again, you'd play hockey, basketball, something in the fall and kind of the winter, and then all of a sudden you'd roll right into baseball. So from a young age, I was into baseball, but never ever really kind of grasped what kind of impact it would have on my life until I was probably, I'd say, like 12 or 13 years old. And when I was 12 or 13 years old, the thing was, once again, it seems to be the story of my life. It's kind of like they always like to say the underdog and overcoming different scenarios and kind of jumping over hurdles to get where you want to be. When I was a kid, I wasn't very good at baseball. The gist of it was I was what they would call a late bloomer. But I got to play on a team with a bunch of my friends growing up. And one of my best friends, Terry, his dad was our coach. And the thing was, he didn't really care if you were good or not. He gave everybody equal time, and it was so fun showing up to the ballpark every single day. And he made you want to play the game. And that's where that love kind of fostered and bloomed, was from when I was about 12 or 13 years old. Honestly, just playing with my friends on a house league team is where it all came from.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the start of it all, right? It's playing. Most people, if you ask them how they got into sports, they're gonna say it was hanging out with their friends, right? It starts off as a social aspect, and then it kind of grows from there, right? So Noah, you are doing a podcast type thing with Premier Sports. Blows my mind, dude, because if I told you that a couple of years ago, when you were announcing for Ball Hockey International, I remember my roommate Matt Carrick, he was telling me, you didn't say a word. You would have laughed if I said you're doing this now. So how easy or hard has that transition been for you?
It's funny. Shout out Matt Carrick, first of all. Great announcer, great color guy. Does a really good job with lacrosse. So, I mean, some of his calls in CLAX were legendary. Himself and Spencer Tanguay, two great guys there. But I got to say, it's funny you bring that up, because, again, I my whole life I've been shy. No matter what situation I get into, my initial reaction is just to be shy, unfortunately. But it seems like with this, it was just an easy transition, because at the same time, we weren't doing it for eyes. We weren't doing it for numbers or viewers. We were doing it because at the same time, just like most companies in this kind of very unique scenario and situation that we're all in, we've got to find a way to kind of connect and reconnect, not only with our consumers, but for us, it's reconnecting with the community that we serve. So we thought of an idea. Okay, let's do a weekly episodic series. We'll do it. Try and do it every day. And we brought it up. And the thing is, I work on all the stuff behind the scenes, and as well I kind of moderate on air. But it came to fruition, and you know what? It just started kicking off, and started kind of blossoming, and we started growing a little bit, and we started to get, the biggest thing for us was we were getting names that we thought we would never get. We were just reaching out to people on social media,
unreal guests.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest thing, and I think you can say the same thing with your podcast. You reach out to people that you don't necessarily know if they're going to say yes or no, and then you get a yes, and you're kind of in a state of, well, what do I do next?
Yeah.
So it's really, it really has grown. And the biggest thing was we're just talking to the people locally. So again, it's usually my girlfriend, it's Ryan's family. Ryan is our majority owner at Premier Sports Academy, and he's also a co-host on the guest speaker series that we have. But it's usually Ryan's family, my girlfriend, maybe a couple of family members on both sides. But now we're getting attention from, I see people listening in from upstate New York, out west in Calgary, BC. We bring on a guest from a certain area of the country, and they share it on their social media, and we get that reach. So now I don't even realize how many people we're in front of, and I don't really pay attention to the viewership. But we have grown a little bit. I mean, we're still not getting hundreds of thousands of viewers per episode, but again, that's not the point of it. I think the point of it for us has always been, first and foremost, to connect the people in Newfoundland and Labrador with different facets of baseball and just sport in general, whether it's on athletic development, whether it's talking to Matt Stairs, who's a former pro, and getting to share some stories about hitting and playing with Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco, or we're talking to a Division I baseball coach, and he's telling us what it takes to make it to Division I baseball. So it's those different areas of the game and sport that we wanted to expose the people and our listeners and our members of our facility to, so that, again, they know what's out there. Because I think that's one of the biggest things, is that even though we do have the internet, and the internet has been around for a long time, discovering certain things about the game, unless you've gone away and played it, it's hard to do living in Newfoundland and Labrador, because, again, we're an island. So the opportunity to have a big leaguer as your hitting coach doesn't come along every day. But you got Matt Steers over in New Brunswick right now, who has taken on sort of a pseudo hitting coach role with the senior Fredericton Royals. So you got a former big leaguer as your hitting coach, versus Newfoundland. We do have some, it is unreal, because we've got some former pros, but not guys who, we haven't had a major leaguer. So the biggest thing is just that the ability to share information. And again, back to your initial question, I think it all just started because we needed something to keep our audience engaged, and we thought this was the best and easiest way to do so.
I think that's wicked. There's no point of just sitting around and just being like, well, we can't open right now. You may as well do something productive. And I think, extending that reach out. Obviously, your target is definitely Newfoundland and Paradise, Newfoundland as well. But the fact that you can reach out now, and hey, maybe down the road you can get people from other provinces to come down and train at your facilities, right? Noah, can you tell me a little bit more about Premier Sports Academy, like what you guys truly do? I know you're a facility, but just a little bit more in regards to that. Yeah,
I mean, again, so the genesis of this all started, and again, I was brought on as, I guess, technically the first and maybe only full-time employee of Premier Sports Academy. So it was started by our owner, and this may be a long story, so cut me off if you want to ask another question or interject.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
But so I moved back to Newfoundland in 2018. And so I came back, and of course I'm going to play senior baseball. Again, it's a good time, a good chance to get down and see some of the guys that I used to play with. And again, I love playing the game still to this day. So I was down playing senior baseball one night, and sitting in the dugout, and Ryan Sweeney, who actually, him and his brother growing up were always pretty much the guys you looked up to. They were the best ball players around growing up. So Ryan was there at the game, and he asked for me out of the dugout. And I was like, man, this is Ryan Sweeney. Like, the Sweeneys are like gods of baseball in Newfoundland. Growing up, they were everybody's idol. Like, So I go out and it's just a casual conversation. I haven't talked to Ryan in maybe 10 years. And he said, I want to talk to you. He said, can you meet me sometime later this week? I want to have a chat about something. And of course, this was the initial conversation about the facility. So at the time, Ryan actually was in the process. His wife had just given birth to his daughter. And so it kind of got put on the back burner for about a year or so. And then last summer, Ryan was coaching Bantam AAA team in Paradise. I was coaching a team in Mount Pearl, and we kept in touch a little bit here and there, but it was kind of sporadic. And then we kept talking through the summer. June, things started to heat up a little bit. He said, I want to do this. I want to do this. The time is right. The time is now. I said, I'm in. Whatever you need, however I can help. And I didn't foresee myself becoming an employee or even involved. I just wanted to help out because, again, anything that's good for baseball in this province, I want to be a part of. So August comes around, and he says, I've got it. And it's just an ominous text. So the ominous text turns out to be that he's got the building that he said, I just signed the lease for the building, just incorporated the business name. We're going full bore. And so at the time, my role wasn't as an employee. It wasn't as anybody. It wasn't as an owner or anything like that. Okay. I literally was just helping Ryan develop a strategy for marketing because that's my background is sport management. And a lot of the roles I've played have been business development and marketing. So again, I said, I'll help you on the digital side. I love doing it, graphics and all this sort of stuff. So we can kick this off the right way. And anyway, September comes around and he says, you know what? I'm going to need somebody day to day. He still had a job at the time that he was doing full time. And he said, I need somebody day to day to kind of take over and run it. And he said, how do you feel about coming over and being a part of Premier Sports Academy? Well, at the time, I had just actually started a new role at our local radio station, Stingray. And I was in business development. I was only in the role about 3 months. So I'd signed a 1-year contract with them. But, I mean, it was a solid – I mean, I think this is a tale of kind of chase your dreams for myself. Yeah. And I don't mean to put the onus on my personal role in this. Yeah. But, again – I was in the job 3 months. Ryan asked me, hey, do you want to work in baseball? Well, I said yes.
Hell yeah.
So it didn't take much convincing, let's put it that way. And I to this day, he still tells people that his biggest feat was he got me to quit my job and take the leap of faith with him. But I mean, it's not a leap of faith when you believe in something as much as we did at the time. Mm-hmm. So we found a building. So we have 14,260 square feet of space. And so we came up with the concept. We had hired the construction company. Ryan was doing all the logistics behind the scenes with the permits and that sort of thing. And I was just kind of overseeing stuff and adding details as we went along. Mm-hmm. Heavily involved in the process, obviously, but not so much as Ryan himself. And so around September, we did a soft launch of what we wanted our programs to look like, but essentially what we came up with in our business plan initially. So we run on a member basis. So if you're a ball player, if you're a softball player, baseball player, whatever, we had a membership base. So you could sign up as a member, and it was the lowest price we had was you sign up for a year, and it's only $50 a month. And we guaranteed those members 18 hours of field time per week where you could go in, and it was basically like open gym, but it was baseball.
That's beautiful.
That was the genesis of our business plan at the beginning. And of course, we wanted to foster relationships with the local associations because, again, winter training wasn't something that every association locally has done in the past. Yep. So finding a way to kind of develop relationships on that path and also give them the best opportunity to train their athletes. And again, we've kind of stuck to this motto the whole time, is that anybody really can open a facility. So if you have the money, you can go out and find an empty space or build your own and put batting cages and turf, and you can buy all this technology and buy all kinds of baseballs and all kinds of equipment, and you can start a facility if you want, if you have the money. Yeah. But what I said from the beginning is we're not just going to be a facility, we're going to be a brand. Yeah. So again, Premier Sports Academy is overall a brand, but we operate out of our facility.
Yep.
So the way things kind of went was we had scheduled a launch for January. Of course, a little bit of red tape here and there. It's what every business goes through when you have new construction in an existing space. We had to rezone the building actually to make it a recreation facility.
Wow.
So again, I won't get into that, but long story on that one. But anyway, we worked with our local municipality, and they were great. So we opened January 13th, and basically we had, I would say, when just before we closed, we had 95% of our time booked. So 95% of our time week to week was booked.
That's huge.
So it was incredible. We were really starting to blossom. And I mean, like I said before, our basis of our business was memberships.
Yep.
So that you could come in and we guaranteed you 6 hours with coaches. And then the other 12 hours, it was kind of like after school. So if a lot of times here in Newfoundland, there's not a lot of recreation facilities you can go after school at the price we were charging.
Yep.
So you could come over if you were an avid baseball player, avid baseball fan, or you just wanted to come over and hit in the cages and become a member. You could come over from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. every single day, and you could work on everything you wanted to work on in baseball.
Wow. That's sick. That's sick. Like I love that you have like that drop-in aspect to it. You know, like growing up, that was the kind of things that I loved doing, you know, like going and playing. I mean, I wasn't much of a baseball guy when I was young, but like I went and played shinny all the time, like drop-in shinny. You know what I mean? Like there was a ball hockey place that I used to go to growing up. So I like that, you know, it gives that opportunity for the kids to play baseball, and especially in Newfoundland, because it's not necessarily known for baseball, is it? But you want it to get to that point, obviously. And I think with the great minds of you, for sure. I can't speak on Ryan because I haven't. I don't know about his background quite yet, but I mean, you guys are great baseball minds, right? So I'm sure you can help these kids along the way for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you hit on a great point. And it was just one word you focused on there, and it's kind of what we base our model off of, and kind of our philosophy. And our biggest thing is opportunity. Growing up, how many times did we have to go to high school gyms if we wanted to throw? I mean, the story actually behind Premier Sports Academy goes long before I got involved, but Ryan's brother actually played for Team Canada, the junior national team. And he's from Newfoundland. He was a hard-throwing right-hander, big boy, 6'4", 6'5", and I mean, he threw 90 miles an hour. Wow. So Team Canada sends him an invite to go to spring training with them. And the very first thing they said was, like, you have to train now. Like, you're coming to spring training, you got to be in shape. It's not just lifting weights and running sprints. You got to have your arm in shape. You got to have bullpens thrown. Your curveball has to look good.
Yep.
So he went up to our high school here that we both went to, and our high school is maybe 61 feet long. And to pitch, it's 60 feet, 6 inches. Yep. So his brother was pressed right against the stage, and down at the back we had a wall, and the catcher's butt was stuck against the wall. And he was throwing his bullpens in there. And, of course, that kind of led to the genesis of Ryan's family looking at other opportunities elsewhere, and they ended up moving away. I mean, Newfoundland baseball lost 2 really good athletes, and his mom, who was a volunteer of the year, and his dad, who was one of the best coaches in Newfoundland history for minor baseball. So the entire family moved away to give the boys a little more opportunity in sport, and also kind of broaden the horizons. And Ryan's brother went on to play Division II at Upper Iowa University. Yep. Ryan played elite baseball for the Ontario Terriers, a very well run and highly regarded program. Mm-hmm. So again, it goes back to opportunity, and that's what we want to provide here, and kind of not necessarily fill a void, because like we said, anybody can open a facility, but we want to do it the right way and kind of also lend our experience, because I played baseball at Brock. A lot of summers in different summer collegiate leagues, had a lot of great coaches. Ryan, the same thing. Mm-hmm. So bringing that experience back and giving back, I think, is one of the, I guess, roots of the business as a whole.
Absolutely. That's wicked. That's wicked. So, Noah, just a little switch away from Premier Sports Academy here. Matt brought up this question earlier. He said, you got to ask Noah this question. I mean, him and I are roommates. All we do is just shoot the breeze, right? So, okay. if you could come up with the greatest CLAX story, CLAX is not a league anymore, so we can talk about it openly. If you can come up with the best CLAX story that you experienced, what would it be?
Okay, so what I won't do in this scenario is I won't bring up any names.
Okay.
So we won't bring up any names. I'll name arenas, and I'll name. I believe I have both teams in mind that I'm thinking of. So anyway, it was one game that I remember vividly.
Okay.
So again, CLAX, very small league. It gave a lot of people their start in kind of sports, and shout out to Chad Asselstein for giving us that start, because again, that was a launching pad for my career working in sport, and again, meeting individuals like yourself, Kennedy. But let's see if I can break this down. So we're at the Silaps Arena, or the Silaps Community Center. Great little rink, great little barn, and it's a turfed indoor facility, to put a little context on it. So very small. I mean, I think their max capacity was maybe 400. So again, lowest attendance in the league, if you want to put it that way. But I'll tell you right now that community supported that team.
Oh yeah.
So we were run like a full, I guess, game day operations. I mean, we had announcers, and we had in-game hosts. We had halftime promos. Anything you see at the NLL level, we tried to replicate on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
And it added to that experience, so people again would come back, and that's again the game within the game. So the individual at the time who kind of ran our game day put a call out, because we were looking for in-game hosts and in-game announcers, actually PA announcers. So we found this individual locally, and he came in. Somebody will have to correct me if I'm wrong, so I hope somebody from CLAX steps up and kind of fills in the gaps. But essentially what happened was we had to fire this guy before the game started. So the guy that our, I guess, in-game leader had brought in didn't fit. Like, he was just, to put it this way, the guy that we thought was going to be a good fit was like a scary individual. And really didn't fit the mold of what we were going for. So we literally fired him before the game started. And mind you, I'm not actually, I believe the Lock Monsters were playing. So it's Lock Monsters versus the Cyclops. And so the individual who handled game day ops had to get on the mic himself and do the PA announcing. And he was a bit frazzled. So, and things weren't going all to plan. Like, people weren't at certain cues and that sort of thing, and he was getting frustrated. And the key is, we were on walkies, so he would have to turn off the mic and turn on the walkie if he wanted to say something or direct somebody. And so I guess he turned off the walkie and turned on the mic when he was trying to yell at somebody about something that was going wrong. So you heard this barrage of just, I don't think it was big level curse words, but I mean, he got a lot of stuff out, and you heard that on the PA, and it was supposed to just go into the mic. So you want to talk about behind the scenes, kind of getting the nitty gritty. That was one experience that I'll never forget. I mean, we laugh about it now, and at the time we laughed about it, but no, I mean, there's a lot more I could bring up. I mean, we could talk T-shirt gun incidents. Definitely, I believe one at the ILA. I believe Matt was the recipient of a broken nose with a shot T-shirt. Yeah. So we'll bring that one up.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. So a line drive out of T-shirt cannon right at Matt Carrick, and boom, this guy's going on the air in about 5 minutes, and his nose just starts gushing.
Yeah, he's a real. Anything hits his nose, he either starts bleeding instantly. Yeah, no, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's I give Matt a hard time about that at least once a month. So yeah, Noah, the Metros, did that really help you in switching over to Premier Sports Academy? Did that kind of fulfill that transition from, I guess, lacrosse game days over to like running a baseball organization?
You know what? Metros gave me a little bit of. I think the biggest thing that I took away from Metros was just the connections. I think that's where I kind of got my passion to actually coach the game. Shout out to all the guys on the Metros. Obviously, that they're gonna forever be my summer team. Can't say enough good things about the program and all the individuals involved. I got to shout out our manager Kerry Hedden, who just retired there last year was his last year. Mark Walters, Justin Ailes, who now took over as GM, and himself and Dylan Perego. Dylan Perego is going to be the bench boss plus a player. So once we get baseball back, the boys are going to be in good hands up there. But I think what it gave me was that inside track to what I really want to do with baseball, because I'd always wanted to work in player development or something along those lines. But I never took the time to really understand what that was. And you look at the baseball jobs available in Major League Baseball, majority of them are across the border. So what the Metros did was give me that big game feel. I mean, we played at a stadium. We had walkout music for senior baseball, especially just at the AAA level. And not many teams can say they had that. So it really gave me a diverse, perspective of what the game was and what it meant to me, more so than anything. Mm-hmm. And I developed a love for wanting to do it more and more, and kind of not having it end. And I think that's the main thing. Yeah. I think when I look back at it and the decision to leave a really comfortable position that I had at the time when I decided to move over to Premier Sports Academy, I think I looked at the experiences I had with the Metros, and they definitely, I guess, deep down played a factor in making that jump and and the ability to be willing to do so and leave a comfortable situation for something that may not be as comfortable, because again, starting a business is a big feat. You got to go in with both feet head first, or else it's really, you don't know what could happen. And yeah, exactly. I think the Metros gave me that because I love playing with those guys. I had such good experiences, and I wanted to share that and also be able to give back what I learned when I was with the Metros from guys like John O'Marcheter, John Paul, JP, Andrew Sorochin, Dave Davidson, like Evan Baglieri, like guys who played at higher levels, and just them giving me that knowledge. Yeah. And then me wanting to apply it to somebody back here. I think that was the genesis there of that.
Yeah, I loved those guys, man. I wish I was able to stick around with them a little longer, because just a good group of guys, very welcoming. And I remember, okay, so I did a game, I think it was the first game of the season, and I didn't have a sound guy. So I got my buddy to drive all the way out from Burlington to St. Catharines to do sound. This guy has never watched a game of baseball in his entire life. So as you can imagine, he's playing the music at the wrong times. The cues are a mess. I'm trying to figure out the scoreboard, coach him, and announce at the same time. And Carrie comes up to me after and goes, "Son, I'm going to have to teach you baseball." And I was like, "All right, man." I was like, "I think I know it, but I'll take your word. I could know it better." They're just a good group of guys, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny because how we got you in the fold, I mean, it was great because at the time we were desperate for somebody to just give us a hand, because we did want to run. For us down in the community of Merritton and kind of like St. Catharines as a whole, I mean, we had people come out that had no affiliation to the team, and that was something to be said about like the level of baseball we were playing, and just people that wanted to come out on a Thursday night to enjoy a game of ball. Oh, yeah. So being able to deliver and give them something else more than just the game, and I mean, music in between innings and somebody announcing who's coming to the plate, it really helps them kind of feel like they're at even just like an independent minor league game. So for us, I mean, on the field, we're still a bunch of guys that work 9 to 5, show up to the ballpark and kind of go out, hit batting practice and play. We're not pros by any means. Now, some of us were, or former and ex-pros, but we were just a senior ball club, a bunch of ragtag guys that love playing the game, and that added to it for us. And I mean, I remember the first time that I got to come out of the bullpen and hear your walkout song, like so cool. And I remember guys like sending in their walkouts. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool, because that kind of adds to it. Not every level do you play at do you get a walkout song or somebody saying your name when you actually step foot on the mound or step in the box, right? So
Absolutely. So, Noah, I know you're a huge, huge old school wrestling fan. I've had WWE playing in the and AEW playing in this house quite a bit since I moved in with Matt. Who are your top 3 wrestlers of all time?
wow. First of all, that's a loaded question. Second of all, I listen. I'm glad somebody. The thing is, we're all sharing that fandom now. Wrestling, honestly, that's my second life. If you ask anybody that's around me, wrestling is like number 2. It's baseball family wrestling. So top 3 all time. Number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think a lot of people would agree with me there.
Yeah.
Number 2, just because of he was again, you can't discount him because he was the biggest draw in wrestling history. Hulk Hogan, he changed the industry.
Yeah.
And then number 3 for me has to be Chris Jericho.
He's the best.
Man,
I mean, he's awesome. He's awesome. The AEW broadcasts have been so much better with him doing them. Like, I'm in love with the AEW right now.
Yeah, like AEW, I mean, for those who remember WCW, a defunct federation back in the day, the Monday Night Wars and all that sort of stuff. I mean, Jericho started there, and the biggest thing is they don't want to be WCW, but he is. It's cool because he wasn't afraid to take that risk and leave WWE and go to this rogue promotion and kind of this startup.
Yeah.
But man, like the way he's changed his character over the years and the way he continues to evolve. You have to put him on. If anybody has a Mount Rushmore, he's slowly creeping in there with the likes of Hogan, Flair,
yeah.
Dusty Rhodes. Like he's getting there.
What was your walkout?
What was my walkout? I've had many over the years, but last going off when I last had a walkout song, I had The Game, Triple H's theme song. So WWE, Triple H, The Game. The year before that, I had Randy Orton's theme song. So, I mean, sticking with wrestling there the last couple of years, but I mean, I've had a ton of different. I mean, I remember being a rookie at Brock, and they played The Islander by Great Big Sea as my walkout, just because that was my rookie song, because all the vets got to pick the rookies' walkout song. So I've had a lot, but the last 2 going off have been Randy Orton and Triple H.
I like it. All right, Noah, I appreciate you stopping on the podcast, man, and sharing a little bit about your academy. I'm going to post the link to your website in the bottom there of this YouTube bio so that people can take a look into it. And if they are baseball fans, or, they want to get a better understanding of your facility, I mean, once this COVID all ends, take a trip down to Paradise and, definitely check by the academy. I appreciate you coming on, Noah. Thank you a ton, man.
Yeah, no sweat. And keep up the good work, man. Keep pumping out that content and just keeping it positive. Loving what you're doing.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
You too, buddy.